Northeast Iceland is arguably the richest area for birds in Iceland and holds a diverse range of habitats, including highland oses, lakes of international ornithological importance, extensive heather moorlands, birch woodlands and scrubland, estuaries, wetlands, beaches and coasts, some with an Arctic feel, and bird cliffs packed with seabirds which are easy to visit. Mývatn is a shallow and highly fertile lake with powerful freshwater springs and extensive areas of geothermal heat. Invertebrates thrive in the lake, and they in turn provide the food for the huge number of birds visiting the lake. Mývatn is one of the best-known bird-watching sites in Iceland and is also a Ramsar site. 15 species of duck breed regularly at Mývatn and the river Laxá, and there are few places in the world with such a diversity of breeding wildfowl. Barrow's Goldeneye is the area's flagship species, and the greatest density of breeding Harlequin duck in the world is found on the upper reaches of the river Laxá. These species breed nowhere else in Europe but Iceland. The same is true of the great northern diver, which also breeds at Mývatn. Other species which breed at Mývatn include whooper swan, greylag goose, pink-footed goose, red-throated diver, horned grebe, Gyr Falcon, merlin, ptarmigan, various waders, black-headed gull, Arctic tern, short-eared owl, and winter wren. Almost 120 species have been recorded at Mývatn. The flagship bird of the Mývatn area is Barrow's Goldeneye. Mývatn is the main breeding site for almost the entire European population of Barrow's Goldeneye. It is one of 3 essentially American species which breed nowhere else in Europe but Iceland. The other 2, Harlequin duck and great northern diver, are also found at Mývatn. The Icelandic name for Barrow's Goldeneye, húsund, means house duck, which is derived from its habit of nesting in farm buildings. In the past they used to nest in stone walls and anywhere else they could get in. Once the style of building began to change, farmers simply began to provide places for the Barrow's Goldeneye to nest in farm buildings. There is an area of rich wetlands with marshes, pools, and lakes at the head of the bay Skjálfandi, close to the farms Sandur and Sílalækur. The area is teeming with birds in the breeding season, and breeders include horned grebe, northern shoveler, and common scoter. Further up the valley of Aðaldalur, there is a cluster of lakes centered on the largest lake, Vestmannsvatn. This is a protected area and is home to numerous birds, as is the river Laxá, which flows through the valley. In the lava field here in Aðaldalur, there is a beautiful birch woodland. As the lava field is rather rough, the woodland makes a nice contrast. This is a good area for ptarmigan, and in spring there are male ptarmigan on every rocky outcrop. The typical woodland birds, such as redwing, redpoll, and wren, all breed here. The lowlands at the head of Öxarfjörður Bay contain a mosaic of wetlands, rivers, streams, tidal lagoons, and shallow eutrophic lakes. Horned grebes and numerous species of duck breed at the lake Víkingavatn, and Eurasian coot has bred there. Flocks of whooper swans molt at the lake Skjálftavatn in late summer. Great skuas breed in the Östersandur area. South of the glacial sands lies the Jökulsárgljúfur National Park. Breeding birds here include Gyr Falcon. Lake Víkingavatn and the surrounding area are very rich in birds, with waders found around the lake and ducks and other water birds on the lake itself. It is probably the best area in Iceland for horned grebe outside Mývatn. A few years ago, it was estimated that 20% of Iceland's horned grebe population bred at Víkingavatn. The flatlands at Östersandur at the head of Öxarfjörður Bay are home to the only great skua colony in northern Iceland. The great skua is otherwise almost entirely restricted to the great glacial sands of southern and southeast Iceland, although small numbers also breed at the head of Héraðsflói Bay in eastern Iceland. Great skuas are seabirds which mainly breed in Iceland and Scotland, and there are approximately 5,400 pairs in this country. The great skua is believed to originate in the southern hemisphere, where 3 to 4 closely related skua species are found. The great skua of the North Atlantic probably became isolated from these southern populations several thousand years ago, and it now breeds in just a few countries in the region. Melrakkaslétta is a broad, flat peninsula with extensive wetlands, lakes, and pools. There are also numerous tidal lagoons. The area's vegetation and wildlife have been shaped by the cold climate as the area is just south of the Arctic Circle. The area is rich in birds and is home to a range of breeding waterbirds and waders. Nowhere in Iceland are ptarmigan and purple sandpiper as common as here. It is also an important staging post for migrants such as red knot and is a crucial molting ground for greylag goose. There are 4 bird cliffs in the area: Snartarstaðarnúpur, Rauðinúpur, Ormarslónshöfði, and Súlur. Gannets breed on the sea stack known as Karl by the cliffs at Rauðanúpur. Rauðinúpur is a cliff at the northern tip of Melrakkaslétta. 2 rock stacks stand offshore here, Karlinn or Jón Trausti to the east and Sölvanöf to the west. These stacks are home to the largest gannet colony in northern Iceland, with the only other colony in the region being at Langanes. Several hundred pairs breed here, and it's very easy to watch the gannets. There are also good numbers of common guillemot, brúnixguillemot, kittiwake, and fulmar on the cliffs. Langanes is at the extreme northeast tip of Iceland and is the most easterly site discussed here. There are numerous seabird colonies along the peninsula. Perhaps the best known is Skoruvíkurbjarg, which is home to gannet, kittiwake, puffin, razorbill, common guillemot, and brúnixguillemot. It is probably the best place in Iceland to get close views of gannets. Snow buntings are common along the cliff tops. The cliffs here at Skoruvíkurbjarg are perhaps the only place in Iceland where you can get close views of gannets without getting on a boat. There is quite a large colony on the rock stack Karlinn, and they have also started to breed on the cliffs themselves, making it the only gannet colony on the Icelandic mainland. Besides gannets, there are also good numbers of breeding common guillemot, brúnixguillemot, and razorbill. Puffins can also be seen on the cliffs.